Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Nerds of Legend. A couple of us couldn't make it back this week, so but we're gonna forge on anyway. I, as always, am Ben. Next to me is Joel, and next to Joel is Missy. Sean might be joining us at some point, but he might have to figure out childcare stuff, so we're gonna just move on. This week
we are actually impressed that we are not joined by our child right now.
We're going to be continuing our book talk on the book Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, the second book of the Red Rising trilogy, and we're gonna just get right into it. So I believe, Joel, you said you wanted me to do the little recap thing. You ready with the timer?
Yes, I've got the timer.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So pretty much the Golden Sun book picks up a couple years after the events of the first book, where we find Darrow, who has gone through the Academy of stuff. And, ooh, thanks, Alex, for the subscription, who has gone through the Academy, and he has, in their, final trial of the Academy, where he's the admiral of a bunch of ships. He's facing down one of the I can't think of the name of the family, but basically the rival the Bologna family that has basically put on a blood sort of oath against him, and for his role in killing one of their sons, and he gets his ass kicked. And then he has to finds his way falling out of the Archgovernor's graces, and he has to figure out a way, because without the Archgovernor's protection, he will be killed within days by the Bolognas. Moving on from there, he decides, you know what? I'm gonna pick a fight with them at the summit of all of the Golden Suns, or all the golds that are anybody who's anybody is there, and he ends up sparking off a little civil war where lots of shit happens, and we go through the events of the Civil War where eventually Darrow wins and is successful at the finally the end. So, and then after that, lots of bad shit happens, even though he's this conquering triumphant, and he gets betrayed by his friends, and they kill everybody he loves, and now I'm mad about it. So
Same.
I was very angry.
And again, the first book, it's very up and down, lots of peaks, lots of this could have been the end, but we're still going kind of thing. And again, I liked it.
Yeah.
You do forget that they're in space until they start talking about space, but then I just
yeah.
The
zone out a little bit.
I don't know. I think Meeting the Blues. We spent a lot with the mid colors in this one, and the blues are fantastic.
It gets pointed out when he's by the Archgovernor at the end, towards the end of the book, that Darrow needs to be careful, because he tends to put these other mid-range or low colors into positions of leadership, which is not something that any other gold would normally do. But
they do not give leadership to anybody.
Yeah. They might serve as sort of in charge of some other people, but they would not be in a case where they would command ships or...
This is the book where we meet Ragnar, right?
Yes. So we get...
Ragnar is a great character. Now,
Ragnar.
What's funny is I didn't know this. You don't get this until you look at the pyramid. And I thought because Greys are the peacekeepers and the soldiers and the lawyer and the law, they're like the policemen, the guards, the security force. All of that is. And I thought Obsidian, since they're the specialized warriors, all I could keep thinking is barbarians. I know they're Vikings, but in my head they're D&D barbarians.
Right, but you think they're the special forces guys, so they're going to be at the top.
No, they're lower.
No. They're slave caste. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're one of the slave castes. Yeah.
Yeah. They're along with the pinks
and the reds.
And they're in the same thing as the pinks, not as low as the reds. The reds are the lowest, but they're not but they're like these physically powerful, noble things. So
Yeah.
Well, and like, so you go through this with him, like, you see him, excuse me, struggling, right? Like, he's trying to, like, he's losing the cause a little bit, like, and, like, before he was trying to remind himself that all golds are evil, but he's seeing these nuances, he's trying to trust people, he's
well,
not
also,
sure.
it's been 2 years and he thinks he's been abandoned.
Yeah.
So he thinks, like, he hasn't heard from a single member of the Sons of Ares in, like, 3 years. So he's like...
I thought this was just 1 year ahead.
No, it's 2.
No,
is it?
Yeah, he was in, like... He, like, went on a tour of the solar system with...
And he got rammed by Carnus Albalona, who is actually...
No. So he went on a tour of the solar system with the Arch-Governor and Mustang
You're right.
and stuff.
You're right. A year with Mustang, then the Academy.
Yeah. So
And then
like,
he was in space where Carnus just beat the snot out of him because
well, he was going to win, but then they
cheated.
cheated. Yeah. So, which is kind of like a big thing. It's like every time, like, it seems like every time Darrow's like, isn't the one cheating, there's somebody else that decides to cheat. You know?
Yeah, well, and he's trying to like figure out how to navigate, and it's still, and he knows that he can inspire people to lead, but now he's trying to understand what does that mean, like, and he, like, you know, you see him walking through, he realized, like, what was it, Tactus?
Yeah.
Albalona.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just like that's the one who.
Yeah, he's still trying to figure out how to lead because, like, he pushed all these.
Titus?
Tactus.
What are you
Yes.
talking about?
Which was it? Titus who was his friend?
No,
Titus
Tactus.
is the one that
Titus is the red from the previous book that was.
Okay, so Tactus is the one that he whipped in the previous book,
Yes.
and now they're like friends, and then he. That actually made me sad.
It was a very sad
about the
storyline.
violin.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, he was learning how to play the violin again, and
He betrayed him?
He did. He stole the kid.
yeah, he stole the sovereign's grandchild.
Oh, yeah, that's not really a betrayal, that was.
Yeah, it was because it almost caused them to like die because otherwise they could have just like flown away fine because the sovereign wasn't going to target his.
Yeah, but
his ship.
he didn't do it like maliciously. He took the child for more of a. He thought he was doing something for leverage. Like it's not like a.
No,
No.
he betrayed him.
Tactus took the kid to fuck over Darrow.
Yeah.
It plays out differently when you read the third book, so I got confused. So all right.
The saddest part of it all is Roke. That made me sad. angry.
Fitchner. I really
And
liked
also
Fitchner. Like, but
I wasn't fully clear on how how they figured out that did they like torture it out of Fitchner that Darrow was a red or like how did that like
I don't
how did he
think
get
it
found
really
out?
He was telling everybody. He told in
Wait, he told
he
the only
started
person
getting
he had
that-
told was Mustang.
Well, I think what happened is that and I don't think it's clear at this point, but what I think has happened is when he handed over that little thing from his mouth to the jackal, right? Because he's like, as soon as I clenched, then I
he'd recorded everything from so he's had the little talk with Severo or whatever where they find out. Yeah.
He outed himself.
I love how Severo was like, and?
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm a red.
Severo's like, and
like,
so am I.
Yeah.
I just love that.
I love how the
he
red.
just like, I just love that fucking moment because Severo's like, he's like, Darrow, I swear, if you don't fucking trust me for once, I am going to walk out that door and you will never see me again. I just spent 6 months in a cramped ass ship hauling my ass from Pluto.
Right. I like how the Reds can't help it. They're all foul-mouthed. Like, at the end of it, they're like, oh, yeah, they're Irish. I was like, nice jab, Mr. Brown. Well done.
Is that really like...
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if that's said
the
in the
narrator's
second book.
Irish.
Oh, okay. Oh,
But
so it's like, you bloody damn coward.
Yeah. That's exactly how it is. It's like the narrator's is Irish, and but they flat out say like the Irish were brought. I'm having trouble and now we've been
because you decided to read 3 books ahead, so now you can't keep
I'm having trouble with like visualizing these. Like I alternate between like the Reds have red hair, but are they red skinned?
So they're like red haired and then like bronzy. It's almost described as them having like almost red skin and red eyes and red.
Yeah, I understand the eyes hair. And the blues have blue hair and blue eyes. No, the blues are bald.
No, the golds
the blues are my favorite.
The golds are literally just like I think they're just like Aryan.
Yeah, that's what it makes it sound like. Cause like
they're like white haired. They're like light, like golden haired and pale skin and like golden eyes.
They do strike me a lot of like the conspiracy theorists that talk about like the alien races, like of the Aryans or the Venusians that are all these weird colors. Are you okay? You're good?
Yeah, I just like I agree that it like I'm not really following with like the visualization, but I'm just picturing them as like I go back to the Hunger Games, right? You think about it, District 1, like those who like
they're like perfectly healthy and yeah,
the ones from the capital, the ones who are raised to do this, right? Like this is what they have.
Except even more so because it's like they're like they just have better nutrition and education and stuff in those other districts, but in here it's like literally. It's the best education, and they're like have the best nutrition, and they are like,
genetically stronger, faster, taller than everybody else.
Yeah,
I think there's just like the whole thing. It goes really. It goes like the different books, like they kind of go quick. Like the first is him, like you come to him, it starts and he's like, it's 2 years after he's still riding. He's no longer riding the high of winning.
The Institute.
Him and Mustang broke up, and now he had this like humiliating defeat, and then they like jumped him at the shower, and then you have him trying to like the next part is him being like, oh shit, I'm gonna be sold.
Actually, he got jumped in a hot tub.
Yeah, like a really unnecessarily bougie one, but they all beat him up
like an in-ground hot tub. Like hot spring. I was like, worst place to get like. This is part of it is like how like this is a guy that like was so like keyed up for like so long, and I was like, how do you get so like not like how do you let your guard down so much that you just like let someone like steal your clothes and weapon from you even though you left it right by the pond or whatever.
And there's a lot of stuff where like book 2 is a lot about. He still believes that he is somehow
better.
Like his mission and his carving and his accomplishments at the Institute have all still set him apart. Yeah. So I don't think he believes he can truly fail yet.
Yeah.
Like, because everything's still kind of like...
Yeah, because...
He got speared by Carnus Albalona's and ship, and he was like, he cheated. How was I supposed to know he would do this, And... But then he still manages to like somehow eke out a win, like he goes to he's now on Luna. Go ahead.
But it's because of his friends, right? Like, so you get a little bit of the Harry Potter, like, he's still like Harry Potter.
The power of friendship.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's the support that he surrounds himself, and then once it starts to fracture, that's where he finds himself and he's like he made that one mistake, and then he spends the whole rest of the book trying to rectify it, but not knowing how.
What's that one mistake? Oh, the book, the crash in the beginning.
Yeah.
But he also.
I was thinking more like Quinn died. Like tactic, like all like
Quinn dying.
All of that is, it kind of goes from there. The betrayal, not like stabbing, like
the whole point of it is like he's having to learn how to trust again.
But on a different note,
like because like he realizes too late that he should have trusted. Like because one time Tactus didn't like fucking just like the kid had never received a gift in his life. from like a pier, and all of a sudden he gives him a fucking nice ass violin. So like, and like, because Tactus didn't like fall over him, like groveling and thanking him, he was just like, well, I guess he's not a friend. So he just like pushes him away, and then he like. He can't trust Roke, so, like, he can't trust Roke with all these secrets, because, honestly, he can't, probably, but, like, he doesn't find a middle ground where he, like, every single part of this is, like, him being like, I need to talk, like, there's so many chapters where it's like, I need to talk to Roke.
Yes.
And then he never does.
But the thing is, too, is, like...
And then finally you get to a point where he's pushed Roke so far away that Roke has, like, basically been like, he's not my brother anymore. And is, like, willing to just fucking kill him.
It all started because he went into that thinking he was going to blow everyone up. So what it started was him protecting him and like wanting him to live.
Yeah.
To where it escalates.
But his lack of explanation to everybody, like these people followed him through everything. Like the Institute sounded like a horrible nightmare, and these people that stayed with him, he would just toss them away. And one thing you brought up was like earlier was that he would take low colors and put them in there and put them into positions of power. And so like that doesn't sit well with people like Roke, you know? Yeah. And you come across a unique group of people that are gold, but their view of being gold is not, I'm gold, I'm better. Like in the first book, you get the idea that all gold walks around with like, I'm gold, I'm better than you, I'm genetically better than you, I'm always going to be better than you.
Right.
And they just sit there like, kind of like the people in the Capitol did, you know, for the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And but then you find others that believe like gold is the bulwark to keeping humanity on path towards moving out into like the universe, keeping them from chaos. And while they don't like it, they know that's their job, and that's where they get their superiority. Was like without gold, we will fall into anarchy.
That was like an interesting,
hard believer of that. And so is that was an interesting governor.
That was an interesting discussion that he had at the end with Augustus, where it's like he's like, "You think I'm a tyrant?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "I can see why you feel that way, but it's like look at what happens when like someone like doesn't lead." You know.
Well, and when I know you had said you didn't like the ending, and so when he like pulls him in, everyone's already like prepped him to be
like he's like, oh, I'm about to be like, I'm the heir apparent, you know.
I really thought that he was gonna like sentence him to like death or like put him.
You thought it was Augustus?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I thought it was leading towards that because he started to build it up. Like,
well, that's the point of it. Like when Augustus takes him away, it was like he's like, "Oh shit, I'm found out. Mustang narked on me or whatever." And he's like, so it's like lets all that tension out of the room. He's like, "Oh yeah, we won." And then all of a sudden he's just like, gut punch, gut punch, gut punch, gut punch.
I hate Mustang is like. I don't have any like strong opinions about her, but Io, the most important thing, and I stand by this from the last book, is that the most important thing she did was die.
Yeah.
You know, like she.
Well, that's
like,
even Darrow says it. You know, like Darrow's like, I would not have gotten like without Io's dream. You know, well, that's the whole thing. Is like he's like disillusioned because like the Sons of Ares haven't talked to him or whatever, and he's like, shit. And then he comes across like his old, like the old cell and finds out, oh, fuck, they've like lost the, you know.
Oh, Harmony.
Harmony. Yeah, Harmony with her genocidal ass.
There's a funny thing, too, is like one of the things that is really interesting is we all think wherever we're at, like we know the most about what's going on, you know, and it reminds me of like my first job where like I'm on the ground, you know, in distribution at Motorola. I was 19 years old, so I knew everything. And I remember thinking, the people running this company are idiots. Like, I know what's going on. Like, you're on the bottom. And then you think, like, when you're on the ground, you hear so many people who are, and it's not just due to youth, it's of all ages who are like, well, if I was in charge, I would do X. And then you get into you know, like you start getting promoted through the company, and now you're like second tier, third tier, and then you realize here I am. I'm a low mid-level supervisor at my company right now, and I have to interface sometimes with upper management. I have no idea what they do. Like I couldn't even tell you where to start. But if you would have asked me at the beginning when I was 20, like I could have walked into Motorola and I'd have restructured everything. I knew everything, but I didn't know anything. And that's interesting because I look at it like that's how Darrow is looking at the society. He was the lowest one. Like being a helldiver meant he was the number one highest ranked person in his society. So therefore, he had the semblance of leadership and semblance of respect with no idea what's going on. I mean, he didn't even know Mars was terraformed. And then it moves on to now he's on a ship dancing this new dance that he has no idea what's going on. But
he's not even a full-fledged like gold. He's like he's in college.
Yeah, like, he never lost that hubris of being I was a helldiver. He referenced it so often. And the nearest thing I could get is helldivers have quick reflexes and strong hands. And that's pretty much it.
Well, and they make decisions like whatever. Well, which is like Sean mentioned that last time. It's like the whole thing is about momentum. So whenever Darrow has momentum, he's unstoppable, sort of like. But as soon as he like stops and relaxes and like sits back and like everything's gonna be fine, like stops making plans, it's when shit goes to hell, like.
Yeah, but when he doesn't have time to think and he's jumping and like him and Severo are like launching themselves,
just like howling, just like through the fucking take a ship like with two people or whatever, and
Now Joel is doing whatever he's doing, but if Severo is touched and killed in this, I will burn the world down. He is the best character in it.
Oh my gosh!
You meet his wife.
Yeah.
You'll love his wife.
He is my favorite. I can't
Ragnar.
everything Mustang is boring.
Mustang, I love Mustang now. Mustang is fantastic.
The purpose of Mustang, I feel like, is to be to remind Darrow of this is what golds can be or whatever.
It's a foil of his wife, right?
Yeah.
He finds himself consistently comparing the two of them. But the thing is,
Lola, don't say that. Severo will not die. Go away.
What?
Lola said, "Oh, he's def gonna die if he's your favorite." Then
I know. Well, that's what it felt like. Is the end felt a little bit about the red wedding, right?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh shit, where's where's Severo?"
Yeah,
and then you realize at the end. Well, and then you realize at the end the reason all these people are asking, "Where's Mustang? Where's Mustang? Where's Mustang?" is because she was supposed to get taken out.
Yeah.
She was in, that was the other one that Jackal knows. If
Mustang also at this book looked like she was cozying up to the Sovereign, which means that because if you learn in this, I don't know if it's the second book or the third, but the reason they broke up was not because they're incompatible, was because she's like, I'm tired of the fight. There's a better, peaceful way to do things. You're smart, do it this way. And he's like, I like punching. And she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go try to negotiate, and she's much more like the calm, intelligent voice. And so because he chose war and to go fight for her dad, because she was really disgusted by the fact all dad wants to do is fight.
Well, yeah, I mean it's just another one of those things where it's one of those YA things where it's if they would just fucking sit down and talk to each other for 5 fucking minutes.
Literally, if he would have done that with anybody, most of his problems would have been there. Because if I had to hear one more, by the time Roke actually betrayed him, you're
all he needs to do is walk up and be like, Tactus, let's chat.
Yeah.
Or Roke, or throw down the fucking bottle of booze and let's hash this shit out.
I will say I was and I didn't think I was going to, but I was starting to like the Jackal a little bit, he was kind of I mean, in the first book he's Joffrey, and then this one
third book he's Joffrey.
You're okay, and then at the end when he's like, Nanny doesn't love me, you're like, And then, like, the little thing where he was like, "Oh, I used your money to kill your oldest. Like, you think I cared about Silver?"
Yeah,
like,
I killed your favorite son when I was 6.
I know. Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Dude, the Jackal's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's... He gets progressively worse. Like, wait till you hit through the third. And that's
it's just like it's so human. Like like you have
I don't know.
this, like,
I've never thought because if my dad was like, I like your brother more than you, I'm like, I'm killing everyone. You know, like he was but
now you know how Missy's like
like he was isolated. He was raised to be this idealized killer. Like he is what his father shaped him to be.
And a whiny little bitch.
And
at the same time
like, completely rejected. Like and he's like,
because he was decided he became the monster that he was raised to be, and then he was cast aside for it. You know?
Yeah. Watson favorite child.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
oh shit.
At the end though, like it's just funny because no matter what happened, it was all ruined when Augustus was like, "You want to be my heir?" And then
what was interesting was because he like asked the Jackal first. You know, Augustus even said the Jackal approves.
But the Jackal, like, even at the beginning, though, he was like, I fucking hate you and I want you dead, Darrow, but, like, I want my dad dead more. Like, you know, so, like...
He is a means to an end person, hands down.
Because once Darrow supplanted him, like, fully, like, the Jackal was like, well, I want both of you dead now.
Yeah, there was no, like, there's no redeeming him. Like, he's, like, missing that humanity. Like,
But he was raised to be... He didn't have any of the chances to earn your humanity. You know, like, the one thing that it really shows that the Reds have, in spades above everybody else, is that sense of family. You know? It's like... You see in a lot of our cultures where like the people with less money and less access to resource kind of like cleave to family. So they have like these local traditions and these stories and these dances and these things that are all, you know, they don't cost anything.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody like these, when you don't have a lot of money, you spend time with friends and family because that's free.
Yeah.
You know, and so you built a sense of community and the Golds are like, they're the ones that are like, do you want to fly off to Ibiza? You know, like have to do all this expensive isolationist shit because they're rich and that's what they do. And so they don't feel connected to anybody. So, like the Reds show this sense of like community.
Yeah.
And
I just thought of
it's just let me finish this point. But like the Reds show the sense of community because they have nothing. Like literally, they have nothing. Like they're fighting over food for God's sakes. Like they're working their ass off to get food, and
just to get like a couple sugar cubes and some meat, you know.
And then you get the Golds, who already are at the pinnacle of everything. They have no idea.
They have everything they could ever want. Yeah,
and then you get. The Jackal is separated from, so he's already in an elitist, aloof society that has almost no connection to itself other than this over-the-top noble family shit, which means nothing.
Yeah.
It's family and honor and, you know, you're better. It's like literally the rich kid who just people popping every so often to go, you know, you're pretty. And then they just run off. You know, you're the smartest. And then they just run off. So the only interaction is somebody say some blanket platitude or something about how he deserves whatever. And this is gold across the board. Like, they're failed constantly because they're not answered. Nobody answers any of the questions. Like, why are you this? Because. Well, what about this? Because. And so they don't have the ability to be, he never got the chance to build what the what if part of the brain, you know, the character that goes, yeah, but I'm going to do this. Yeah, but what if? What is the reason? What is the ramification?
Yeah.
He got none of that. So he's just literally like a child given unrestricted access to everything, you know? So he's got the motives of a small child. Yeah. But the abilities of a hyper intelligent megalomaniac monster, you know?
Yeah.
And it is it's very interesting. He's a very interesting character because the complete and utter lack of remorse that he has for any of his actions at the exact same time as his actions being driven by this almost childlike need to prove himself.
Yeah. Do you love me now, Father?
Right. It literally is like that. I'll blow your moon up. Does that make you love me? No, you're a monster. Well, I'll blow up a second moon. What do you think now?
Well, especially like Darrow should have like thought of that because the one point where like Jackal, there was like the point where like he knows that Jackal killed like Augustus's like favorite, like scion, like Lancer.
Yeah. Is like all the Gold families allowed one favorite son?
Well, there's only one successor,
No, but every
line.
story has got like, he was our favorite. What?
Yeah.
He was our favorite.
Well,
what?
now he's our favorite.
Yeah, you get 700 kids,
yeah.
but you can only like one of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, as soon as, like, the Jackal, like, Darrow should have, like, been worried about the Jackal as soon as, like he was... Darrow was thinking,
should have cut his head off in the Institute when he was, like, cutting his hand off. He should have been like, oh, this guy's fucked up.
Yeah. He should have fucking killed him made sure the Jackal got killed in that raid, but...
Yeah. Honestly, the Jackal, like, when somebody deadpan looks at you and cuts off their own hand, you've got to be like, this guy may be a problem in the future. He's not wrapped altogether. But instead he just, like, looked at... And then as soon as he did... stabs Pax in the neck. He's like, oh, yeah, thanks for helping me.
Stabs him 20 times in the back, actually. But yes.
No, that was after. Remember, as soon as he finished cutting his hand off, he stabbed Pax in the neck, and then Pax went to protect Darrow, and then he stabbed him 20-some times in the back.
I did like meeting Pax's family in this
fucking awesome.
But they were
dude, they're fucking mad lads. They're like, oh yeah, we think that Dad got his like skull cracked too many times and now he's kooky. It's like, oh yes, you want a jelly bean?
Ow, Telemanus!
Kovacs, ow, Telemanus.
Yes.
It was, I thought they were like delightful. There was like, this one wasn't as heavy to me, like as the first one. Like the first
there
one
was a lot of juice to the first one.
Like the first one, I needed like a break, like a mental break. I liked it.
I definitely had to take it in like a little bit at a time. Yeah, because you're talking about like kids. He's getting like literally torn. Like he's literally getting like torn completely apart, piece by piece, and put back together. That's a tough scene. The scene with Eo's tough. The scene with like him dying is tough. The scene with like him going to school.
Eo annoys me still.
Him killing Julian, and then then getting betrayed by Cat. Then getting betrayed by whatever the fuck her name is. The one bitch.
Harmony.
No, the Victra's sister.
Oh,
Antonia, and then getting betrayed by Cassius, and then getting betrayed by, and then finally he puts everything, wins, puts everything, all the pieces back together, and then you think he's gonna lose it all again with Mustang because she's about to die, and then, and this one it was like there were like a couple like big major like emotional swings, but it was not like.
Yeah. I felt
this is the one where he went to Lycos with Mustang, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I felt was like, I was not like, it was not surprising to me was like in the beginning when they're like, but she was pregnant. And you're like, well, duh. Like if there was one thing that like.
There are a couple very obvious cliffhangers he does.
Yeah. They're like, what did she whisper? Why was her sister?
You knew as soon as there was a whisper, you're like, pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah. And the mom wouldn't tell her. Yeah.
Yep. They're going to use this to kind of motivate him. And not once was he like, why didn't you tell me before? Like, it was like, nope, we're going to just keep this in our back pocket. Yeah. So when you are when you're waning, then
no, that was Harmony that used that. That wasn't like I don't think Fitchner and Dancer would have used that because they would have been like
it was Harmony. Yeah.
Dancer, I like Dancer. Like Dancer but Harmony was the example I said about the people below on the bottom that think they know how to run things, because she when they lost contact with Fitchner, when they lost contact with Dancer, Harmony decided, like, I know what to do. Blow everything up.
She betrayed them and, like, went off and made her own cell because she was pissed off that Dancer...
You didn't know that in the beginning.
Yeah.
When he goes back and he finally gets in contact with Harmony, you don't know that. She makes it sound like Dancer died. She makes it sound like Fitchner abandoned her.
She died.
And
Mary's abandoned.
Yeah, so you think, like, all these things happen, but in reality... She's just like
she's a lying bitch.
Blood in this blood feud, and I really need to blow shit up because she's not acting on a place of on a place of like logistics. She's acting out of just pure emotion.
Well, and then her like her one the one person that like one of the people that like Darrow was like holding on to as like it's like I'm doing this for people like her is the pink, I can't think of her name.
Theodora, wasn't her name? The one that he actually, like...
Wasn't it, like, Evie or something?
Evie, yeah. And she,
No, the Theodora was the pink that he saved in, when the ship was blowing up at the very beginning.
Yes,
and, like...
That's his girl, that's his, like, person that, like, tells him, like, all right, what am I supposed to say to this person? Because she, like, knows all the court etiquette and stuff. So, like, she's an older pink that's, like, can't do, like, all the...
Yeah,
sensual things anymore. Yeah, like, but she like knows like all of the court gossip and like who's who and all the, basically
she knows
like
the positions, but her knees are bad.
Like Theodore's like how, like Darrow's like how do I know who this person is again? And she's like, and she's like, got it, thanks.
Thanks, pink lady.
I liked the one like afterwards, like back to kind of it was like a moment. It's like, are you a Democrat?
Yeah.
That's the biggest
Are
thing.
you
a Democrat?
No, that's not the word they use in the book.
Oh, that's a big insult. He's like,
is it Democrat?
Yeah.
I thought it was a reformer.
A reformer is above Democrat in this story. It's like anybody that is for the idea of like a full democracy. Yeah. Like they do not care for it. They don't.
Oh, right. Yeah. Democrat was like the thing because like the whole thing was like, we got rid of democracy in the first book. We got rid of democracy because it made us weak.
Yeah. And that's like they understand they need a leader. Like they have gotten to the point where like a Senate is fine. Like to have people that are like we can all discuss and we can come on, but they have identified they need somebody who is going to be standing on top with the authority to be like, that's dumb, we're moving on, thanks for the advice.
Well, there's a reason why they like fashion themselves off of ancient Rome, because
that's how Rome had their Senate became mired in uselessness. If only we had a modern day example of a useless group of people just talking in circles doing nothing.
Weird. I don't know where we would come up with that.
I don't know. Maybe we should do some research and figure out if there's anything. That's not likely.
Yeah, whatever. Moving on.
We've definitely evolved past that nonsense.
Yeah. It's
even like Octavia's the
Alloon?
Yes.
Like Octavia of the Moon.
Ooh. Yeah, elderly and senile is definitely the best way to pick a leader, Lola. I agree.
I love her though. Like,
yeah.
She doesn't even
the sovereign.
Big bad though. Like, she just seems like she's like the people around her. Like, and like once upon a time, she was important and like beheaded, whatever,
everybody
over the world.
Yeah,
I mean the kind of it seems like Octavia is sort of like she supplanted the previous sovereign who was her father.
By killing him.
Yeah. Because
you prefer your Senate to be elderly and senile.
Yeah, I agree.
She must be thrilled in America right now. Like,
yeah,
and really, really effective at what they do. I'm sure.
Which is nothing.
Yeah,
they can very busily do jack shit.
Yeah.
But you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you've read this series, but have you read Dune?
Have I read Dune?
Well, I mean, like all of Dune, not just the book. Like,
not all. I mean, I read like the first 3.
Okay, then you've read further than I have. But doesn't she, Augusta?
Oh, look at that! That was like a both of you being like, have I read this? I've read this.
Yeah.
How dare you think I didn't read this? And then he's
We've talked about the book before, so I was like, what are you talking about, Joel?
I know we have, but like, it's in these societies. Like, it's funny when you take these stories. You have these massive interstellar empires, right? Like you know these vast empires that like go through space and they encompass planets. And the leader is always like very powerful, but kind of like a background thing. I mean, like, look at Warhammer, where the Emperor is sitting there and he's like the most powerful person in existence, and they're
You're a corpse god, you know.
Yeah, and then they don't do shit. And that's exactly what like Octavia does. Is like she's got all this power, but like once you get off the moon, everybody's like, yeah, but fuck her, she doesn't leave the moon.
Well, I'd say like the only reason like Octavia became
her.
I'd say the only reason Octavia became the bad guy was because she was a threat to Darrow, in that she was like backing.
Well,
she was backing Cassius.
Mm-hmm. But honestly, like, wouldn't you? The Bolognas, the Bolognas happily stepped in line.
Yeah.
And
why did no one investigate his backstory?
Who?
Like Darrow. Like, I feel like there had to be holes there. His mother took one look at him and was like, I see your eyes, you're my son.
Yeah.
Like, not a single person was like...
Also, I mean, if you think about it, she is kind of like a stroke survivor sort of thing. So it's like, maybe it's like a whole...
Are you suggesting stroke survivors get extra powers of perception?
No, I'm saying, like, maybe she thinks it's a fever dream. I don't fucking know. Or, like... Or they preserved enough of his bone structure that he still looks kind of like rough and tumble. I don't know.
He was singing the song. He said EO, like, more than enough. Like, they were, like, all recorded. Like, I feel like there was enough.
It's mentioned at one point that, like, there's that by Darrow is, like, there's not a way to trace him back to EO because, like, in all the records, like EO has become
his mom, who's watching TV, being like, "That's my boy."
EO has become Persephone, and but EO, like, none of the Reds in the Underdark.
Underdark. That is forever what Lycos is called. What the mines are called, the Underdark.
Yeah, get assigned an actual name. They like by like the bureaucrats. They're all like number 865-709.
That's their employee ID.
Yeah, they're like all have an employee ID, and then like nobody keeps track of those names. It's like some dude that like like there's no name associated with her as a person.
Right.
It felt like a cop out.
Yeah.
Honestly, it feels like this guy I feel like this guy got a job at like a massive mining conglomerate and was like employee 3521 and was like, I hate this.
He just read Loomis.
He did.
Yeah.
He just read a whole bunch of like these books and then was like, I can do this in space.
Yeah.
Like it was but
it's good. Like, it's not bad.
It's very engaging.
It's engaging. It keeps your attention. It is, like, I would say, like, this one felt a little bit more like Game of Thrones, with a dash of, like, Harry Potter. Like,
and a huge dose
it definitely felt like I listened to this book and I was like, the entire time you're like, this is an intermediary book.
Mm-hmm. It does. It sets up a massive, like, something like, that ending where he gets betrayed and everybody finds out that he is a red, that the people find out he's red or he gets betrayed or whatever. Like, but all of that shit, I think that's happening. You knew that from the very first chapter to the end. Like, all this shit's going to fall apart. And
so, like, where a lot of trilogies like fall into a trap a lot of times is like the second book doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's almost like that second, like, Star Wars is not a...
Go fuck off.
Clone Wars, you know. Anyway, so like the second like that second book, that second movie.
This is, hold on. I need to bring something up because this is to explain my response to my wife, which now this fucking asshole watched the first Star Wars, A New Hope, and then saw Empire Strikes Back. I was like, I'm good. I don't need to know how this story ends. She was like, Luke, I am your father. And she's like, that sums it up for me. I don't need anything else. You're like, do you want to find out what happens? Does he complete his training?
My wife.
What?
My wife.
My wife, not watch. Right, so she watched Empire Strikes Back, and that's why, and she's like, I'm good. I don't need any more. Do you want to watch any of the other movies? Nope, I got all the Star Wars I need in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I don't need anything else. There's I can't even, 7 other fucking movies.
At least finish one. At least finish one trilogy, Melissa.
I watched Yoda.
Fuck you! You watch shorts. She watches Baby Yoda shorts on YouTube. She's like, I'll just get the outtakes with Baby Yoda. So her version of The Mandalorian is a Baby Yoda playing with a ball, and that's it. And then she's like, oh, your name's Grogu. Ears up and down. Entire second season for Missy. That's it. And she has no clue what goes on. And she lives her life like this, like a sociopath.
So back to Golden Sun.
I was going to say.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how you're supposed to live your life.
Thank you, Lola.
I don't. Melissa's building a cabal online right now of people that are like, yes, the insanity that you feel is normal.
I'm disappointed.
I'm just going to go over here and have a stroke. As I fall out.
But back to that. So this one is a filler book, right? Is very much the kind of building up to what you're doing, setting the stakes, getting you there.
Yeah.
But what I was confused is this says it's a trilogy, but then there's more books.
But the trilogy stops. The story actually
The story of Darrow ends.
And then it becomes a story of the group. Because we could easily stop at Midnight Sun and be like, that's it, because it finishes this arc. And
so anyway, what I was trying to say about the whole trilogy book thing.
Yep.
Is a lot of times the trap that gets fallen into is the middle book doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't change the status quo at all. But I feel like this book had its own sort of advancement of the story while also introducing a reason for the third book. I don't know if you guys read Aragon.
Yes.
Yeah. Figured Melissa didn't, but it's kind of that. Aragon.
It's about dragons.
It's Dragon Riders, yes. So Aragon is great, and then it's a good book. It's sort of another one of those books where it's I feel like the writer wrote the one book, and then his publisher was make it a trilogy.
Yeah.
And then
15.
Yeah.
Well, that is how it feels. Was the story was written. What I do love in this one is it starts out with Darrow's failing.
Yeah.
Because in the first book, Darrow was the untouchable person, It was trying to play it was playing a game, a quest game with your children. I don't know if you ever did that, but Quinn used to take us on these epic quests as a child. And his weapon, which was always a stick, always leveled up to something else. This is my sword, and by the end of it, your sword also shoots nuclear warheads. You're all right, well, your power creep is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was a very aggressive prediction.
Dragon Riders.
I love nerds.
We get very aggro about dumb shit, and it's half the fun of why I do this podcast. So.
Oh my god, I love it so much. The hostility of our stupidity.
Can't wait to torture Ben with my next book.
What is your next book? Because they have new Akatar books. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go right back.
No, I'm just teasing.
Anyways. So,
and if you do, you still haven't truly punished me for what I put you through with Gaskell Thraka, so I've got it coming.
You didn't mean it as a punishment.
He did. He said, I've never liked your wife. I'm going to make her read this book. That's a lie. He adores her.
I still think there's a Warhammer book that I can find that you will enjoy. but I know you will never give me another chance.
That's correct. That's like her being like, I'm pretty sure there's a way I could kick you in your junk and you would love it. But
how do you know I'm not into this sort of thing?
The first
Sofia
book,
Vergara is.
it would still hurt. The hotness of the nut kicker does not change the fact that it is still a nut kicking happening.
But there'd be distraction.
No, not distract. That's not how it works. So, anyways, the first book was very much like, no matter what Darrow did, he got better. Like, no matter what happened, he just like, even his failing, he like tripped and fell to like the best, like co-leader next to him. He had a full revelation.
That like basically like
have this one in the Golden Sun, he didn't really seem to have it. Like he failed, and so instead of trying to have a realization like he did before, he just kind of was like, I'm going to do the same thing. He's like, I'm going to throw things into the air. Like, he immediately was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to start a bigger fight, He's like, well, I'm about to lose my contract, so I guess Civil War it is, let's challenge the Bolognas in front of everybody. And they're like, knowing that he's going to, what he thinks is the remaining Sons of Ares, which is, blow up everybody here, kill yourself. He's like, jihad is not the way. I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to challenge this, start a civil war. And then he kind of just stumbles into the whole thing. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of growth in his character. It seems like he's pulling the same shit out of the same bag of tricks.
Well, the difference is in this one, like by the end, he's like choosing to trust people, but he like it's almost like too late. And
it's way too late.
The whole point of it is like, and then like the one person that might have like listened to him, he was a coward about it.
Yeah.
Like, instead of just saying, like, hey, I need to tell you that I am this.
I'm going to show you something.
He's like, I'm going to show you me basically being tortured for months, broken completely down into my component parts as a human being, and then rebuilt into a gold. Like, why does he think, how does he think that, like, that's the way to convince Severo? It's like, all right, yeah, he's all right.
But it worked for Severo, right?
Yeah, Severo would have.
Yeah, but why the hell would he think like if he thinks that Mustang loves him and he loves her, like why does he think that like the way to fix it is by her watching him being like surgically ripped apart?
He doesn't understand it
and built back together.
He was bringing her to something that was important to him, right? He was bringing
right.
Yeah.
Like, and so he was too scared to do it, so he was going to make something else. But the thing is he's trying to learn how to trust people, and every time he trusts them, then they fuck him over.
Yeah.
But he's also, you got to remember, like, this is somebody who is like, even though he's been in gold for 4 years, like let's say 4 years, he's been a gold for 4 years, and he is
until Severo. He had never had a true friend, and maybe
he hadn't had a true friend, but his understanding is these are the highest level of the high. Like remember, he was when he goes back to Lycos and he sees
these are gods.
He sees what is the guy's name? Ugly Dan or whatever that his name was.
The mine guy.
The gray in the mine.
Yeah.
Who was like this terrifying thing.
This guy that was like basically like God to him down in the mines.
Yeah, and then the aristocrat.
He's sniveling, balding, fat guy, like.
Yeah, the aristocrat who is like terrifying to him, and he gets back and he's like, these are nothing.
Yeah.
He's not used to playing in this one. It's kind of like in the like high school dramas, high school shows where like the people are walking around and then they finally get a chance to talk to the hottest person in school. And like the movies where they write a big long letter to him,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he was doing, was like he's showing this massive like missive to Mustang, this over the top thing, because I think ultimately he as a character does not really hold himself on the same level as Mustang. Like there's certain golds that he looks at and he's like, ugh, what a garbage person. But then there's other golds that he looks at and he's like, I'm nowhere near that. And I think Mustang is one that, even though he's been around her for 2 books and they've been banging, he's still like, I'm not on her level.
The whole point of it is like, he's not like, even though like his whole like purpose is like, there is no color. Like there is no one's better than everyone else.
There is in his mind. Like it is so
he has
part
it like,
of his...
yeah. Like there's
Yeah, it's
still
so
like
heavily in his system that he is like absolutely color is everything. Like you are gold is gold, you know.
yeah.
So, but anyway, all right. Should we wrap it up or?
I'm trying to think if we have
Oh, we could keep dithering back and forth.
Trying to decide if there's any other point that. Oh, one of my favorite scenes was when he like his like ship's like his ship is being like he needs to hand over command of his ship or he's taking over the command of the ship from like the other like from the Sovereign, and he like takes the flagship, and they're like all these blues are in there, and he's like, I need one of you. Yeah, I need one of you to take command, and then all the blues are like, I did my PhD thesis on
your understanding of quantum mechanics is laughable.
Yeah. It's like we need to it's like she is just a simple Daka. You must choose me. I have superior knowledge of quantum mechanics. It's like, you fool, my knowledge of navigation around singularity black holes is far superior.
The like nerd flex of the blues was awesome.
And them all just like being like, he's like, I'm taking her because she asked first.
He just asked as you're talking like that. She goes, because she's over taking care of the baby right now. She goes, is Ben talking differently than normal?
Oh, are we saying I'm a robot? Is that it?
Yes, that's what we're trying to say.
Shit.
She's called you an engineering nerd.
It's just like it was just so great because it's like you've seen like that argument like at university of like I'm a better nerd than you. Like you've seen nerds try to like out nerd each other.
You could ever imagine.
Yeah, and it's like oh my god, but it's like super high level maths and sciences. You're like, and then there's like I pick her because she makes a like she asked first.
Yeah. Like, but that's true though. Like the high level nerds that they were, like, they're plugged into a ship. For God's sakes, the blues don't even like talking. They like to be plugged into the ship because it allows for faster idea transfer of information. So, but
yes, Lola, I am an expert in dragon culture within popular early 2000s teen series, especially Spyro the Dragon.
So the one thing I did like, and I don't know if we were going to wrap it up on this one, but when he told Severo about his carving, and Severo looks at him and goes, "So what you're saying is I'm taller than you?"
Well, yeah, because they said a couple times, it's like back when I was a red, I would have been even a head shorter than Severo was. Like,
yeah.
So like Severo's short.
Like, what I'm Severo's short.
So Severo's short because he's 6.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And like so your average red is like 5.5. But like all the golds are like 7 to like 8 feet to 9 feet tall in the course of like
the obsidians are 8 to 9.
No, but like it's like said like the telemonuses are also like
they're
obsidian sized, yeah.
Well, like it's just funny, like when he talks about how short Mustang is. At 2.5 meters, you know, you're like, oh, that was what a midget, disgusting, you know. But yeah,
which is huge. In freedom units is
in freedom units. That's what we're doing right now. We're just gonna.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's literally 6'8" is 2.5 meters.
Yeah, it's really sad. But
or no.
So next week we're going to be going over Midnight Sun.
No, not next week.
No, next week is next one is Midnight Sun. We're going to go over the story of you remember Utgard Loki.
Then I want you to don't get confused. Okay, it's not the Twilight retelling Midnight Sun. It is Midnight Sun, the third book in this trilogy. Okay.
Your goal is to just get him to cry on screen, right? Like now, like Sven's gonna bleed out of his nose one time, just fall over. Lola's like so pleased with you right now.
I don't know how you can top that, but go for it. Bring us home, Ben.
Yeah, close us out with that one. Remember, not Twilight, Ben. Yep. A mistake you obviously would make.
Edward's point of view is majestic.
Even though I have the entire trilogy bookmarked on Scribe. Whatever.
I know you do. The Twilight series, right?
There's 4 books of Twilight plus Edward's version. Get it together, Ben.
Yeah, how could you mess that up?
Yeah, how could I? I mean,
it's fair. The two are virtually indistinguishable.
Anyway, just as a final closing reminder, we are going to be taking a pause in the next couple of weeks on Candlekeep Mysteries due to my other demands in life, such as school and being a husband and father and all those things.
Just mostly school.
Mostly school. Whereby Will is going to be taking over with his own campaign of Odyssey, where we will be entering into a world that's kind of exists within a pseudo-Greek mythology sort of stuff. So that'll happen in the next couple weeks. I'm going to be wrapping up the current arc of Candlekeep. And once that's done, Will is going to take over as a DM. So,
and we'll have a new, hopefully, a new look to our.
I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna add some fun stuff in. That'll be great.
Yeah.
So, thank you everybody for watching. Again, next week we're going to be talking about Utgard Loki and Thor and Loki traveling to the world below, and we're going to have some fun. Mm-hmm. So, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you again on Thursday.
Bye, everyone.
Yep.